And joining me now is Daniel Marans. He's a reporter with the Huffington Post, focusing on the Democratic Party and progressive movement. So let's start with the retirement of U.S. Supreme Court Justice Anthony Kennedy. If you can explain for our international audience the significance of this retirement and really what it means for Americans.
Justice Anthony Kennedy was the swing vote on the Supreme Court really for decades. He was seen as kind of a libertarian, someone who the liberals on the court could rely on for things like supporting gay rights, for things like supporting abortion rights, and that's going to be something we're going to hear a lot about in the coming weeks and months, but more conservative on economic matters and matters of corporate power. With his retirement, the president will have the opportunity to appoint a staunch conservative in all matters, including women's rights and abortion rights, and so to potentially completely reshape social freedoms in the United States.
And there is the fear by people on the left that some of those issues came back.
No question, and foremost among them is, again, the right of a woman to choose abortion. We could see it being left up to the states. We could see states moving, as soon as justice is confirmed, to passing laws that would restrict is unconstitutional. And I think that is at the fore of people's minds right now. But we could also, for example, see all of campaign finance laws in the United States gotten rid of so that people could give limitless amounts of money. There are really no limits to this, and it would take us back in some ways to a pre-1930s era in terms of the way corporate power and women's rights are treated in the country.
What about the timing of this retirement and what it bodes for the midterm elections, which are just a few months away here in the United States? I guess the question is, will a new justice get confirmed before or after the midterm elections?
It's a very good question, and Democrats for a long time have tried to sort of play the middle ground, and we saw that with President Obama putting forward a centrist justice. The Republican Senate wouldn't even give him a hearing. There is now enormous, Democratic activists, liberal activists are extremely riled up about this president and this Republican Congress, and there is now enormous pressure on Democratic lawmakers not to make that same mistake twice and to use every procedural trick that they have in the Senate, though they can no longer filibuster and therefore stop a Supreme Court nominee from being confirmed, but to stall as much as humanly possible.
And we just saw at the end of the story the various primary elections that have taken place across the country. Going ahead, looking again at the 2018 midterms, what does it say about what voters are thinking and just the temperature of where things are with the country? Could we see a shift in Congress or go back one end or the other? I mean, what does it say about what we're seeing right now?
Well, it's very interesting. These two issues are related. We're about to see the Supreme Court potentially have the power to reshape the country. We have a liberal base, and in fact, even a moderate and independent base in the country that is extremely nervous, extremely angry at this president, at his disposition, and at many of his policies. And that is fueling not only what many of us anticipate at this point will be a Democratic takeover of the House of Representatives, one of the two houses in the United States Congress, but also a progressive revolution within the Democratic Party. People saying they don't want more of the same in terms of people, in particular, entrenched party leaders who have taken a lot of corporate money, and that was a huge dynamic in the race Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And of course, there's the factor that this is the year of the woman. I mean, women have been disproportionately present in these resistance movements to President Trump. And the fact that the progressive candidate challenging an entrenched incumbent who'd been there for 20 years, outspent her vastly, happened to be a woman, certainly worked in her favor.
All right, we'll leave it there. Thanks for the insight, Daniel Marans. Thank you. We appreciate it.